All right, let's use LLMs or AI to generate configuration in HighByte. So what this is I did a proof of concept a couple months ago around instance creation, and I'm going to show you what that looks like in the actual 4.2 release, how to use that, and then talk a little bit more broadly about the use of LLMs or AI in the product and how we're thinking about that. So I will link the video to the initial proof of concept in the show notes, so you can watch that for a little bit more context. But as a quick summary, if you recall, what I had done is I'd created a mock OPC namespace for a fertilizer plant, and what I did is under line 2 I added 3 crushers, and for the tag names I made them a little bit confusing, right? So this crushing machine has things like HZ, that's hertz, it's a vibration tag, you know, but I kind of use this obscure naming convention. And then what I did is inside where there's other machines, I added 2 other crushers. This one that has some additional tags, it follows the naming convention but has some extra stuff. And then down here there's another that follows the naming convention. This is a crusher, and then this is a decoy to see if I can get the LLM to pick up something that's not a crusher. All right, so in 4.2, what I've done is I've created a data model that is my crusher as I want it to be. And then I've created an instance that I've manually mapped to that first crusher. So if you look at this, you know, what I did, is I went in to that OPC input, I expanded that crusher, and then I drag and dropped into this namespace. So you can see crush rate is this C22 feed rate and all that. And this data isn't actually running, but you can see I can do the read and it's all just zeros at the moment. So now that I have one, I want to use AI to go find the other ones. So this is the new UX for this. What you do is you drop in the namespace, in this case fertilizer line 2, that's everything under here. And then I select an AI model. In this case, you know, what you can see is we added connections for the main, and we'll look at this after this runs. So I select my item, I'll use OpenAI. In this case, I can provide some additional instructions. I won't out of the gate, and then I'm going to hit generate. And while that's going, let's jump out, because it'll take probably 30-40 seconds. Just to show you what we've done is we've added new AI connections. So if I show you the list, there's a new AI section at the bottom. We have Bedrock, OpenAI from Azure, Google Gemini, and then OpenAI today. And really that's just to hold credentials, you know, access tokens, etc. And then if you look at, you'll see this warning. So you can use these in production workflows. Our concern is that every 10th iteration you're going to get a cat meme. That's my internal joke with LLMs, and you have to be able to deal with that. So just be aware of that and cautious. Although you can use this however you want, just be aware of it's non-deterministic. And in these connections, they're all kind of the same. What you're doing is you're setting the model that you want to use from that provider, instructions, a message. You know, I just put oh hey in here, and then if you want the response to be string or JSON, and I'll do a test. This is just oh hey, and it should come back with, you know, that went out to the LM and it produced a string response. So these are now generic connections with inputs. And then in the AI generation instance, you're just selecting the input, one of these inputs that's really just controlling the model ID. We're not using instructions or message or any of that. We're using the inputs to select the model from the provider. All right, let's zoom back, see what happened. So OpenAI generated 3 instances. You can see as we click through, it's going to show you in the namespace where it found those instances. You can see, and it looks mostly right. Let's see, site area crusher 2. So it found crusher 2. It found mock X. And it looks like it picked off the one that we had already generated. So we don't really care about that one because that one's already done. But if you go in here, we can do a test read. We can see that this works. We can click into the details and see what it mapped to what to do some verification. And if everything looks good, we can come in. I'm trying to remember which one. Crusher 2 was the first one that we don't want. So anyway, we'll go next, and we just want 3 and 4. Import those, and now we're off to the races, right? We used LLMs to generate that. So let me just go back quick, and we'll try it while we're on. We'll try it with one other. So again, you just drag in the input. In this case, this part of the namespace. We'll pick, let's do Gemini. Now, a really important point is you don't necessarily need to send this workload out to a cloud provider, right? If we go back to a lot of these, most of these, I think, support an endpoint setting. So what this means, for example, if we go back to connections and look at the open, where is it? OpenAI, right down here. You'll see that a lot of these have a base URL. So for example, LM Studio support, and many do, examples of this support an OpenAI compliant endpoint. So I could point this to that endpoint and it wouldn't use the OpenAI cloud services, it would use a local LLM to do this processing. So that's pretty easy. I think that's really important in industrial. We have concerns around data privacy. So it looks like Gemini did something wrong. You can see none of the endpoints generated. So what we'll do is let's go back and give it one more try. This is LLMs though, right? Like I make the joke, every 10th iteration you're going to get a cat meme, you need to plan for it. What does that mean around incorporating LLMs into our configuration? It means that, and I think this is a really interesting field that's emerging in UX, is this iterative loop of LLMs. How do I give an LLM a task, allow it to go do that like it's doing here, and then provide an interface for a user, aka me, to go and quickly validate what it did. So you can see this time it looks like it worked. It didn't pick off the initial crusher. It left that first one alone. And it looks like it found crusher 2 and Mach X, and it named them a little bit more based on the hierarchy there. So it worked. But this iterative loop of, hey, I need to be able to do something, check the result, verify, roll back if I don't like it, or I can go back and provide initial instructions like make sure you look, you look under this branch for additional data. I think that's super important in the LLM space, and that's something you'll see as we look at the use of LLMs to generate other configuration models, pipelines, etc. How we refine the UX to work around that iterative loop. This is kind of our first go. You could imagine, we could enhance this to provide multiple sources for instances that are mapped to multiple sources, more advanced configuration, tighten the loop, and all that kind of stuff. But give this a shot. Really excited this is in the product. Hopefully this can really help people that are tasked with this kind of manual mapping using LLMs to help accelerate that.